Welcome to Saaiman Says. It is Chad Saaiman here with you on Cape Town's original Good Hope FM. Today, we chat to UK singer-songwriter, soul expert. He goes by the name of JP Cooper. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
Let's start at the top. You have an extensive hat collection. And I've been following your career for years, and I've always seen some incredible hats, man. Is it something you were into before music?
I guess they came around the same time. Yeah, but I've always been a big fan of your more, let's see, these traditional kind of.
Yeah, they call it the poor boy and those ones. Yeah.
Yeah, so I always really liked the kind of connection. I grew up in Manchester, which is, big industrial revolution kind of place, and I really like the kind of working class kind of feel of those things. Often a lot of my favorite sort of soul artists, Donny Hathaway, people like that.
Oh, come on.
Well, so there's a connection there as well. But yeah, I guess it just stuck. Yeah, I like hats.
Yeah. I love that for you, man. And I mean, you mentioned Donny Hathaway, who's one of my favorite artists as well. I almost feel like, you know what, he's almost underrated to a certain extent, because a lot of people commercially, they talk about Stevie, they talk about Marvin, they talk about Luther, but like I notice, especially in South Africa, the name Donny Hathaway doesn't pop up all the time.
No.
Is that some of the music you were listening to growing up?
Not so much growing up. Growing up, there wasn't actually that much music around the house. My dad used to listen to, I remember him listening to the Drifters.
Yeah.
I remember him listening to James Taylor.
Yeah.
And I remember him listening to Lionel Richie. But that was about it. But a lot of the other kind of things came just from me. I guess my musical thing came from, me being in Manchester around that time, so it was a lot of guitar music, but little by little I realized that there was something in soul music that just resonated with me deeply. So I started delving into that secretly at first. A lot of my friends were into like rock music and
rock music.
Yeah, so it was an interesting journey. Donny, I think I discovered around 18, it was late.
Okay.
Really late, yeah. So that was an amazing day.
I love that, man. Listen, I think another thing is subconsciously we pick up so many songs at different points in our life. I was introduced to R&B only when I got to university. I was listening to pop music, and someone gave me a Music Soul Child album and said, I know you like your pop stuff, but ever listen to this. And it changed my life, man. And I think to have that kind of duality with some of the songs our parents listened to combined with what we discovered ourselves, I think that, and it comes through in the music, man, because even on a record, when you jump on a pop record or you jump on a dance record, your soul always comes through. And I think that's one of your strengths, your connection to the song, no matter the genre.
It's good to know. I mean, sometimes, when I dip my toe in that world, I feel like, am I going a bit too close to the the pop thing or the dance thing? So it's good to know. It's good to know.
Yeah.
But I think that's when I feel my most kind of authentic self, really, is when I'm expressing from that place. That's been the place where I found a safe haven as a creator, as a young sort of man coming through. Luckily joined a gospel choir and just found that place of encouragement and that place of sharing and singing as a community. It wasn't all about one person. It was, so there's great strength in that.
And you were in a band before, right? A band, then went solo from that point. How was the transition from being with a group of guys on stage and in rehearsals all the time, progressing to just sometimes being alone?
Yeah, I think it's funny, being in bands, you kind of have this pack mentality, it's us against the world. And there's something about that I do kind of miss. But yeah, there's a thing about being a solo artist is like you have to self-motivate. And don't get me wrong, I have a team around me, but it isn't the case. I really miss getting in a room and just jamming with my friends, And that's something that I feel like I've had the opportunity to do a bit more. Making this new record that I'm working on now it's been a lot more playful. A lot of the songs, although they started, I really wanted them to just start In fact, I've written most of this record at the piano.
Okay.
But now that we're getting into the process of making it, I was like, I want to get a band into a room and start cutting the band and then start playing with those sounds that we've created. So it's felt a little bit like that again, which has been beautiful.
Okay. Which is a great thing, because it's cyclic, right? Because I think when you do your first album, sometimes, okay, I think we just got, do you know what load shedding is? It should come back.
Is there a time where they
cut the electricity? Yeah, but it should come back now.
There you go. Bingo.
It eventually comes back. I want to talk about, musical turning points in your career. I am assuming that the Jonas Blue record was a turning point, Perfect Strangers. Apparently, you weren't supposed to be the vocal that goes out in the song.
Yeah. So I don't know whether they just said that to get me to try and write to this thing, because it was a big change for me sonically. I've never done that kind of music before. And I think, I had a bit of an ego as far as being like this kind of guitar organic artist. And it was a really rich experience for me to learn to drop that through this, but it was something that I was definitely on a back foot about. If they would have said, this guy wants you to feature on one of his songs, can you try and write to this? I probably would have been like, oh guys, I'm not ready for that. But I thought, well, as a writer, no one needs to know that I was involved in this. And looking back now, Jonas sent me through this amazing track that has resonated with so many people. But at the time I was like, this is just so different for me. So I recorded it. I wrote the thing, the lyrics and the melody, and sent it over to him. And I was kind of just trying to, write something really simple that filled that mood. So it wasn't really from a place of like, this is about me. I was trying to create something for somebody else. And maybe that gave me this great freedom to write something so simple. And I learned a lot of lessons from that, actually. Which I'm super grateful for. But anyway, we put it out, and it's huge. And all of a sudden, radio stations wanted me to come in and play my music. And, it was a real beautiful catalyst for my career. So there's, I'm grateful for that.
I love that, man, because I think those kind of songs do different things for your career versus, I think there's a space. Some songs are, I guess, doors that lead to your deeper catalog. I know, I mean, when it comes to your deeper catalog, some of your older EPs and some of the songs, for example, The Only Reason is a massive tune here. I think you know that, right? People love that song over here. There are certain songs that you've really just emoted on. I also know that the Cheerleader demo is the song that you proposed with a few years back. And I got engaged this year, and I'm only connecting with you on this now. But I'm just like, imagine that moment, man, because I know the song, and I only found out more recently that you proposed with it. It must have been, how were you feeling? Because when you play a new song for someone, you kind of have this, do you feel this awkward little, you like their first listen, you kind of just listening through the headphones.
Because you can just hear that little
Were you nervous in that moment?
I mean, all right, so if we have time, I'll tell you the story of this thing. So my wife is from St. Lucia in the Caribbean. So I knew that I wanted to propose to her there because it holds such a place in her heart, and I wanted to propose at this amazing hotel. But I thought, if I book this hotel, she's going to know I'm going to propose. So I had some of her friends who work with the tourist board pretend to gift us a stay.
Okay.
So we get to this place, we're like, this is amazing. I can't believe all of this was for free. We're kind of hanging out, and I was thinking, all right, so I'm gonna book dinner at this place, and then what I'll do is I'll propose before we go for dinner, so that she's dressed up, so that if she wants to take pictures afterwards, anyway, it gets to that point, and she's like, oh, I think I need a nap. Like, I'm tired. Can we make dinner later? So she takes a nap. I'm laying in this bed watching lizards crawl across the ceiling, thinking, I've got this ring burning a hole in my pocket. Anyway, she wakes up. She's like, I'm not sure. Should we just get food to the room? Like, we had a massage. She's like really relaxed. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Maybe we should. So anyway, I say all the time with my wife, I'm saying, oh, I've done this new song. Do you want to have a listen to it? So it's no thing, you know. So anyway, I put these headphones on. I say, oh, have a listen to this. And she sits out and she's looking at the view of the Pitons, which is these beautiful mountains there over the sea.
Yeah.
Incredible. And she's got these headphones on and I can hear it going. And I'm like, I wonder if she's going to twig, because I talk about speaking to her father, asking for
father, yeah.
And all of a sudden I kind of see her face change. Afterwards, she looks around and she's just crying. And the weird, I never realized getting down on one knee is such a strange thing to do. Like, we never. Man,
no one teaches you. No one teaches you how to do it.
Kind of practice it before.
No one teaches you. No one teaches you which knee. I googled which knee. It's the left one apparently. I said, listen, a little confession to make. You know, this wasn't a gift. I wanted to ask you if you'd be my wife, you know, and it was amazing, you know, and it was really, really beautiful. And I always thought, you know, how am I ever going to do that? And I thought it was the perfect way, and it worked out really well. She had no idea. So, and thank God she said yes, you know, and here we are. Yeah, thank God she did. You also have a song called Closer, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I don't know if Closer would have happened if Cheerleader didn't happen, you know. I think it kind of
it's that's a beautiful song, you know. That's really, really beautiful song. There's so many little, you know, the songs that, whether they're about like my wife, my kids, my they're always gonna have a special place. So you know, a lot more of that on the new record, you know, as far as it's really came from that place of where I'm at now, which has been really nice.
Have you been to South Africa before?
No, first time.
Have you been? Okay, so do you know any? Okay, I'm coming to you live from Cape Town right now. What do you know about Cape Town?
All I know is that everybody talks about how beautiful it is. Everybody talks about the food. Everybody talks about the wine. About the people. You know how amazing they are. So, you know, I'm really excited. I'm excited to come out with my camera, take some pictures, capture that. It's a shame that I don't have as much time to hang out, but hopefully it's the beginning of a beautiful relationship, you know.
You're gonna love it. You're gonna love it so much. I can guarantee you'll be back at some other point. When it gets to some of your slower songs, especially, do you know if any of them have been used for weddings? Do people even say, hey, JP, I used your song as my first dance or things like that?
All the time, which is still blows my mind. But yeah, it happens a lot.
It must be such a beautiful feeling, because a wedding happens once, God willing, for each you know, couple. And someone says, out of all the songs in the world, I'm gonna use your song.
Wow.
I mean, it's crazy, right?
Crazy. That's crazy.
Yeah, man.
Such a privilege, you know, just to you know, you start writing these songs, I guess selfishly, really, you know, especially with me. For me, I wrote them for me, and then all of a sudden it's like, wow, they're not yours anymore, man. They're taking on this whole new life for other people, which is it's beautiful. It's really beautiful.
Oh man, love that. Tell me, someone once told me that a great song can be reimagined and interpreted and stripped down in any way. I think that's one of the strengths that you have as an artist, to be able to take any record, whether it's completed in the studio, to an acoustic version, to a gospel version, to, you know, to piano versions. Is that something that you're conscious about, or is it just by chance that you have incredible songs?
Well, I mean, that's what we're aiming towards, but I think the way that music consumed now is consumed in so many different ways, you know. So there is, in the past, I've definitely thought, okay, I you know, there's been collaborating with the people who are helping your music get out to the world. So there has been production decisions that I've made in the past. That maybe I'm not sure whether I will do that as much now, but definitely in the past, there's been production decisions that have been made to kind of satisfy the platforms that I'm putting it out on. So whether that's the radio, whether that's, and I guess because people consume music in so many different ways now, it's like, well, I can do all of these different versions that satisfy me, you know, so there might be decisions that I make creatively that aren't always putting me first. But I always can in some other way, whether that's by doing just me in the piano or just me in the guitar or me in the choir or you know, all these different versions. So it's, you know, when I'm gone, you know, there'll be all these different ways that people can consume that music and all these different feelings. And so it's actually a really interesting way of just unpacking these things. And even when it comes to remixes, you know, it's like, I really enjoy the ones when people completely, like, they just throw it in a blender and it comes back, you're like, wow, how did you make that out of this song? You know, so
like what? Yeah,
exactly. You know, so it's, the whole thing is really exciting. You know, how many different lenses can you look at one song through? It's a lot of fun. I'll always be doing that.
I love that. We look forward to spending time with you in Cape Town. I hope we get to meet as well. I'm sure we will. Come check it out. A lot of my friends love your music. A lot of the listeners love your music, and we can't wait to you know, have that natural connection to you and the show and the performances. And if there's anything you need from us in Cape Town, please shout.
I'm grateful. Thank you.
And we cannot wait, man. I will make sure that everyone connects to you on the socials. If anyone doesn't know, I'll make sure they get plugged in the time between now and then. So yeah, man, we cannot wait to have you in SA.
Can't wait to see you guys.
Okay. Just a side note, the last artist from the UK I spoke to on my show was Craig David.
Amazing.
And for me, like, I've always had a connection to UK artists. Did you grow up listening to him at any point? Yeah,
he was on the radio when I was first, you know, getting into music, and I wasn't really into that kind of music. I was listening to the, you know, guitar bands and stuff, but I was like, this guy's good. He's obviously crazy talented. So it was great. You know, I worked with him on one of his albums, and, you know, we've written a couple of songs together. And
amazing.
He's one of those people that, and I'm sure you got a similar feeling in the interview. You feel like you've known him for a long time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, really, really, just a warm soul. You know, really, really nice, man. I'd be surprised if anybody had bad things to say about him.
I don't think that there's anyone who could say anything.
He's a good fella.
Yeah, man, top man. JB Cooper, thank you so much for your time, and we cannot wait to see you later this year.
See you soon.